Hi everyone, I'm Robbie Herring and I'm here for Flying Unicorn, and tonight we're going to make some ornaments and hopefully y'all will like them. But before we get started, we're going to have a few announcements, and the big announcement is next week is Delana, and that is our last show of the year. That's also at 9 Eastern. And then we have new Prima doll stamps, the boy doll stamps in the store, which is really cool. I can't wait to get some of those. And then also don't forget that everything that I use from in the store, Alda has 10% off. So this week you can go in there, you just have to click the Ustream tab and pick up the things that you can use for this class and for other ideas. All right, so let me show y'all what we're going to make. And one thing I had thought about is, one thing I had thought about is we're going to try to make it through all three. But if for some reason we don't, I'll post up the other one on my blog with the details. But hopefully we'll make it. So I am actually going to go ahead and scroll the camera down because this is going to be a project that shows much easier laying flat. All right, so hang on one sec. I see y'all say it's freezing in different parts of the country. It is actually really nice here in Texas. Okay, here we go. Let's make sure you can see. Maybe this way a bit. Okay, so these are the ornaments. And you can see it's not going to work for us. I'm going to hit that. Sorry about that, y'all. If you were here a little early, you know I knocked my camera off, so I've got a little bit of problem here. All right, so here's the front. And this one, I went with kind of the non-traditional color. And I love the blues and the golds with this. And then what you really can't see from the photos that we posted is the backs are pretty. And one thing I really like on my tree is if I do one-sided, I like that when you turn it over, it's still pretty, like if you see it through the tree anywhere. So this is the blue one. And then here's a, whoops, knocking that off. Here's a white. And this one I kind of played up the whites and silver. And you can see, let me tell y'all, we're going to use these petaloo flowers tonight, and they are gorgeous. And this one I did kind of like snow. You can see that. And then one more is a red one. And this one has lots of gold. So I used different glitters. And I did these, I used the same shape on all of them, but I did want to show different looks because what I think is kind of neat about this type of project is that you can use anything that fits your color scheme. You can use any extra stuff you have around, and it works perfectly for that. So what they started with, whenever I started thinking about, I knew I love Christmas. It's the only holiday I really decorate for. And trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I thought I want to do an ornament for sure. But nothing was appealing to me. And I love these things. But I thought, well, I've covered them with paper before. What can I do that is new? So I decided that I was going to cut these paper mache ornaments in half. And that's what we're going to use. And what I like about this shape is you can just use these lines. And I suggest being careful when you do this because I will admit that one of them, when I was cutting, I decided to try to make it a little faster and scoot my scissors forward, and I stabbed myself. And so when you do it, be careful. But you can see these cut apart pretty easily because this is just cutter bee scissors. You can use a knife, but if I stab myself with scissors, I feel sure I would probably stab myself with a knife. I think I'm dangerous in the craft room. All right. So this is what we're going to start with. And you can see just absolutely perfect to put stuff in. So we have two from one inexpensive paper mache ornament that I just picked up in the craft store around here. So pretty much anywhere this time of year. All right. So, and I'll let y'all know I've worked ahead a little on some of this. I'm going to show y'all each step, but there is drying time involved in this. So I wanted to make sure that we have, instead of having to let it dry, that we're not spending time on that. And so we're going to do the red one first. And I started with just gold paint, and this happened to be just what I have in my house, and it's just acrylic paint. It can be anything you want, any kind of paint. It's doesn't take much, and I'm doing it just to give myself a base, because you can see these are kind of ugly in here. And let me give y'all a hint too. One thing that I did find is the stars. There's lots of these shapes that cut in half great, but what I did find is the red or the round ones do not cut in half. I don't know what is inside of them, but it's something black and hard, and you can't get through them. So if you decide to do these and you go out and get you some shapes and want to experiment, I cut stars in half. I played with a lot of these before I decided exactly what I wanted to do. And you can see this is a gold metallic paint, and I'm just giving it a quick coat, basically so if anything shows through from the other side, that it'll be pretty instead of just the ugly craft color, which craft is good in some situations, but not on sparkly ornaments. And you want to make sure you get the little top edge too. So that's simple to start. And then we're going to flip it. And I think if you've watched me before, you know I prefer the matte Mod Podge. And that is all that we're going to do on the outside. And I'm also going to warn y'all, this is not the neatest project ever. In fact, it's probably one of the messiest. So this, we're just going to give it, you want to give this a pretty good coating of Mod Podge, because we want the glitter. We're going to use the Prima glass glitter, and we want it to really, truly stick well. And so it's a little bit of a heavier glitter, but it truly sparkles, and I absolutely love it. Hang on, let's see if I can get hold of it again. Okay, and there's a reason I'm holding this too, because I don't like to get a lot of Mod Podge on the plate, because then I waste my glitter on it, which is totally ridiculous because there's a ton in the container. And this glitter covers so well, making sure I've got it truly covered in all spots. All right. This glitter covers really well, so you don't need to do anything to the back side of this ornament. And for this one, this is the Prima glass glitter, and this one is Gold Rush. And if y'all haven't gotten any of this, it really, really is a beautiful glitter. See, I did it anyway. And we're going to give it a good coating as I spill it. I like to work on paper plates. We're going to set it down anyway because I'm not having luck tonight. Because for one, it catches it if you're not up too high. And then you can just dump it back in the container. See, I told you this is messy. Alda would hate this project. Or actually, she'd probably wear gloves, I think is what she said she would do if she had to do messy. All right, and we're going to give it and then you want to touch it up in a few little places. Any place where the Mod Podge, where it didn't cover. So in that case, this will fall off a bit. My house, frankly, is pretty covered in glitter this time of year, but I guess I did these at least a week ago, and they're still, they're just beautiful. So you can see what we've got here. And on the inside. So that's what we're going to start with. And like I said, instead of letting all this dry and spending forever cleaning up through every step, I have gotten one ready for us to move on to. And it is here. All right, so here's the one, exactly the same thing. You can see gold on the inside, this on the outside. And now we're ready to start the details. For this one, or for all of them, I did a bow at the top, and so we'll start with that. And we need to make a hanger. And this is just I don't know, gold cord, if you can see it. Let's move that. And what we're going to use is Fabri-Tac as always. You could probably do these with hot glue. I don't really like to do hot glue on something that I'm going to, for one, I store my Christmas stuff in my attic, and I don't want that heat to, I don't want it to fall apart. So when I wrap these up, I like the Fabri-Tac better because it probably won't fall apart like hot glue would. So, simple little thing, we'll let stuff glue. It would be faster because you wouldn't have to let things glue. So that is a plus, but I can't get that to stick tonight. Where is it? Here it is. Losing my ribbon. You'll notice this always works when you're doing it yourself. Okay. And then the bow, these are, this is just another Christmas glitter ribbon from, I'm not even sure where, but it makes pretty bows. It's got a wire edge, and so I'm going to use this one to tie it. And then this glitter is real similar in color, so I like that it matches, and again, it makes it look so pretty from the back. And then I'm going to show y'all how to do this. I kind of gather it, and I'm going to get it close where you can see. So it's just kind of gather, and I'm going to make a four loop little ribbon. Here we go. And what's great about the wire is, even if you mess it up, it's wire. You can fix it. You can shape it after the fact. All right, so we've got 4 little loops, and we're going to tie, let's cut it. I'm going to tie a little knot in it. And see, since it's wire, it's staying. I'm not even having to hold it really well. So we've got that. We're going to cut, we'll cut off the back just to make it pretty. And see what I'm saying about how we can just shape it. And I like these little fluffy looking, even though they're really not, but instead of being flat. Okay, I'm sorry. One sec. All right. Okay, so see, here's what we got. And we're going to glue that to the top. Do y'all ever have these bottles that they want to bubble? But it may be convenient because it'll be kind of dry tonight if it bubbles up a little. And there's our little base. So this is what you start with, which is really, really easy. And will dry as we work. And it's ready to be, have things tucked in it. We can put things at the bottom. And I decided instead of doing one or the other to do all of the above. So that's what we're doing tonight. For this one, I did take a crystal piece. And I know that some of the scrapbook companies make them, but I didn't have any. So I went and I bought these really inexpensive little ornaments. And they have many pieces. And you can see on this one, I took the bottom off. I felt like they were too big. I'm going to move my camera a bit too. I know I'm getting out of camera range, and I think it goes back to where my camera is. And I just pulled off the bottom. I really did, but I can't do it. Okay, here we go. And then for this one, I wanted the glitter to kind of match. And you'll see here, let me show you here. I wanted to put a little glitter on it. I've seen some of this in some of the really great ornaments that I've seen, and I thought that's so pretty when they put the glitter on the bottom. So instead of, I wasn't real sure what would stick to this, so I used an experiment and it worked. And I have rubbed it and it still has stayed on. So I just took a little bit of the Fabri-Tac and I just went around, and I'm going to come up here close because I know this clear a little difficult to see. And I just put it around here. And then I dipped it in a little bit of the glitter. And this is the same glitter that we've been using. I'm just going to use off the plate. Trying to stay in for y'all. And then you can see that it turned out really pretty. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm going to attach that towards the end because it needs to have a little dry time. And I only had 2, so I couldn't do that one ahead. All right. Now, one thing I did find when I was doing these is that there's all this space. It's deep. And I didn't want my stuff to truly, like, disappear in it. And so I decided to fill it. And what I used was tulle. And y'all, I love tulle for all the reasons, mainly that it's an inexpensive, great little thing. And it's easy to work with. So what I did is I tied little bows. And these are simple shoestring bows. So here we go. And this was, so you can see, nothing to it. And then I fluffed them out so that they would take up more space. All right, so here's what it's going to just look like. And then what I did was, I can get rid of this, I think. Okay. Then what I did is, can y'all see okay? Am I too far away? All right. So then I'm just gluing this inside. And it doesn't matter how it goes, but I used 5 or 6 depending. And this is another thing that I did ahead of time because I figure everybody can tie a shoestring bow, and that's all this is. Nothing to it. And I just filled up my ornament with it. Okay, thank you. Good. And I did a few extra bows because what you find sometimes, I think one of them I found that I needed a little more. Once I started placing, and even the ends of the hanger, this is going to cover it right up. Okay, so you can see here, and you can see I've got some ends hanging out. And since I'm just building the base, I don't really want any of this loose stuff hanging out because this is to make it sit on top of. I don't want it to end up being a focal point because we're using so many pretty things in it. So you'll just snip it, and if you get the end of a loop or something, it doesn't matter because this is basically just a base for it to sit on that's prettier than some of the other things. I mean, I even thought about cotton balls. I thought it's Christmas. That looks like snow, but ended up choosing this, liked it better. Okay, so here's what we're starting with. And you can see the back, and you can see how the ribbon and how it all matches up nicely. So here's what we're going with. Okay, now the dangle thing should be about dry. Nope, not yet. We'll attach that towards the end. All right, so this, I told y'all about Well, I'll tell you about the petal leaf flowers later. For this, I wanted a lot of, you can see there's a lot of different gold glittery, and the flowers were red glitter. So I chose to just go with some of these Christmas picks. And some of these I had in my stash, and some of them I picked up. But just whatever pieces match your glitter. And I even, with this one, I even chose when I was layering it, I used one that was a little different, and I like that look. So I just cut off a few pieces and started attaching it. And y'all, there's really no rhyme or reason. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I'm going to go with a pretty close copy of what I did before. But one thing I do like about this project is that there's so many things. If you've got great petally flowers, or you've got great prima flowers, you've got, you know, the beads and things like that, you can use anything in this. So I just literally started gluing these down, and that's what we're going to do. My Fabri-Tac does not like me tonight, for the record. Okay. And I don't know, in the camera I'm looking, I don't think y'all can see all the glitter on my table, how bad it really is. I see a little sparkle when I look up. See, that one I broke, but I don't care. And then these are in the store, and these they're just so pretty. These are Petaloo, and I've already used one for the other ornament. And these are pretty neat. You could use this leaf. I didn't. I kind of stuck with my color scheme and did not use it, which is really unusual because I love leaves. And I usually don't care if they match or not with my project. I just like them anyway. So, but you can see you get 6 in each package. And yeah, there you go. I think you can see how these have glitter on them, and they're really pretty. And I use some of these to just layer in and start gluing them down too. And some of this, oh, and here's another trick. When you're gluing stuff like this, glue it on these in the center, because that way if we need to snip off the ends, we can. And also, once we start doing all the layers, this top section also is not attached, so we can manipulate those the way we want to do. And so all this is going to be covered here by flowers. So you see there's no real rhyme or reason. It's just pretty much whatever you want to do. Here's another trick too, if you'd like. You can even give them a twist and do 2 at a time, and they'll stick nicely that way too. Simple little things. And you'll see on the front, we're losing the shape of it because we're not really paying attention to that on the front section. But on the back section, you still see the beautiful shape you had. Gotta hold those just a second to make sure they're gonna stick. Okay. I like this twisting them first. It's going to be that kind of night with the Fabri-Tac. Drop the camera and now having Fabri-Tac issues. Okay, well that settles a little bit. I'm going to show you all these flowers. These I ordered. I could see them in the store. Let's see if we can get the glare off. Yeah, we'll take them out. Anyway, I could see them in the store, and I'm sure you've probably seen them in the store. And I thought they were pretty. They are so much better in real life that it's ridiculous. These, I thought it was probably like glittery centers, and I honestly don't know if I can show you these, but they have these little stones, and they're actually like set, and look how they catch the light. And it's like they're all glued to the center. They are really seriously about 10 times prettier in real life than they are, and they're already pretty online, but in real life, they're seriously cool. All right. So what I did was, I'm back to leaves because I do have to have them. I just can't help myself. So I literally am just gluing the leaves I like that go with my project to each of these flowers. Actually, let's do it this way. Okay. We're fixing to open another bottle. I don't think we're going to be this. That's one of those irritating things you can't plan on. Okay. So, and then we're going to glue them down. And any of these sticks that show at the end, and I don't think any of them will, I'll just trim off after we're done. So then I'm not going to worry about exact placement either, because these are truly whatever you like. And see how I'm doing this? Nothing to it. And see how the tool's letting me just set it on top, and it's grabbing hold of that. And you can move these any way you want. And here's more of the base. And I am going to go ahead and cut this little piece off because it may show. Until you bury it. Okay, so that's more of the base building, and then we're going to start doing some of the detailing. And these picks, if you don't like glitter, they are not for you, let me tell you. All right, now each of the things that I did is a little different. And this particular one, I used some of the, this is from Prima, it's Holiday Jubilee resins. But what I really think is cool about this project is that you can use anything you want. Angels. I even thought it would be pretty to put some of the frames and maybe put a little photo or put a word or put they make the tiny little boxes. You could add wood. I played with Christmas trees in this. And for this, I kept it really, truly super simple. And this is my favorite, knotted wood. I should have known. And I just inked it a little bit. And this I pushed down on a bit to try to get it in there, to cover up a little bit of the, most of the white. And then I went back, and because I did want to pull in some of the gold on it, I used a tiny bit, and this is finger painting. And you literally just want a tiny, and I'm going to get in here close so hopefully you can see it. And I used it to see how I'm getting the gold to pop, and rubbed the gold on it. And in the photos, I think you can see this. And because these are acrylics, they dry really, really fast. And because it's a resist, the ink seems to really dry and stay too. So that's all I did. I do have baby wipes because I didn't want to have all my colors mixed together. So give me a sec. All right. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to tuck this in. And again, it's Fabri-Tac. For the next one, we're opening a new bottle. And you can tuck this anywhere you want. Like I said, I'm sticking pretty close to the original. And I just kind of want it peeking out. And that's it. And then these little glitter letters or words, I love these. And I got these at the hobby store too, the craft store. And I used the Joy one on the last one, but these are glittery. And they're plastic, so they cut. I'm cutting it. They're supposed to be little miniature ornaments, but whoops. So I'm just cutting off, and because they're plastic, again, your cutter bee scissors work great. See, now at first it wouldn't come out, and now it's everywhere. And we're going to layer this. And my pine cone disappeared, so I want to pull it up a bit. And then a few more little pick pieces. And for this is this is another one of my picks, and it's gold and green, and I like these little balls, so I just cut a few of them off. These really are super fast, and I think if you wanted to, you could probably do it like I did 3 different colors, so I was kind of working with different things, but it wouldn't even be as messy either. And this is just more Fabri-Tac gluing it down. Because you could do a bunch of them together and then let them all dry together. Okay, that's it. We're done. Let's get a different glue. See if this bottle works better. New bottle. Okay, yes. Help me calm down a little bit too. It's kind of excuse me, frustrating when you're trying to work and nothing is sticking or coming out. And just tuck a few in. And then I want to, and then you can play with the placement a little. Before it's all truly set. And show it. And here we go. And this, I don't like how that's showing. The tool was popping out a bunch. So I'm going to tuck it under. And this should be dry enough now we can use it. Yeah. And then this little crystal, I used the same cording. But when you're tying some of the small stuff, this cording was a little thick. So what I did is I cut it, and it just pulls in half. So you can see, then I have one piece. Okay, I'm reading the chat, and Jean says she could use her granddaughter's finger and then hers wouldn't get messy. We have no grandchildren, and our kids are not living here. They're pretty much, well, they're grown, so I don't have that option. I have to be messy myself. But I would do it if I could. All right. And this is not quite dry yet, so I did mess it up a tiny bit. But anyway, just a little bow, and I'm just going to glue it on. amazing when the Fabri-Tacs knew how much easier. Every now and then it seems like I get a bottle that doesn't like me. And there you have it. And that's going to fall off. But for drying time, I'm not going to be able to keep it on, I don't think. But you can see that it's really easy. And there's so many things you could choose to use with it. I didn't even think of it till later, but the Prima vines I think would be beautiful to use on these. So many options. I think the Prima wood icon, or I think they're wood icons. I don't have any sitting out here, so I can't tell you for sure. All right, you know me, I have to clean up a little. So let's get ready for the next one. The next one is pretty much the exact same thing, but I used the white glitter, so I wanted to change it up a bit. Let me grab it so you can be refreshed and see it. Okay, so here you go. This is the white one, and it has a jingle bell in silver, and the back is white. So let's get ready with this one. This one I did a little bit differently. It's still real easy. I'll do it here. Okay, this one I went ahead and painted the inside with gesso, and it takes about 2 coats to cover this well. And I plan to use, and I'm going to use tonight, white tulle. So I wanted to make sure it had a really truly white base. And on the outside, what I found is when I added the glitter, it looked great, but it wasn't covering quite like I wanted. So I started experimenting, and this is what I came up with. I used modeling paste, and I basically iced the ornament. So you can see this tool came with my pan pastels. It's like the handiest little tool ever, and I honestly have no clue what it actually was meant for. But see how I'm just doing this, and let's see if you can see. Purposely not making it smooth. I don't know about y'all. I do a lot of things well, but icing cakes is definitely not one of them. So this is perfect for me. Since I didn't want it perfect anyway, it worked out beautifully. See here? And this is a bit thick, but you want to be careful not to get it really super thick. This does take a while to dry. I was impatient and wanted to see if it worked, so I will not be held responsible if you do this, but it did work, and I did do it. I stuck it in my oven for about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes at like 225 just to get it dry so I could play with it and see how it worked. Hopefully some of y'all are a little impatient at times too, but it was working for me. So if you do that, you're at your own risk, because I don't know if I was lucky or if it really will work every time. Okay, so you can see here what we have is we've basically just iced it and made sure everything's covered. I'm going to put my hand inside of it and get any little edges. So here's what we got. There's no telling how many baby wipes I'm going to use today. All right, and this is the Prima. This is also the glass glitter, and this one is pearl. I would say it's iridescent for lack of a, I'm not real sure, but you can see it really picks up the light and almost makes it look like sun shining on the snow. It is, and it sticks really good to this. So my experiment was a success. So let's see if we can catch the light for you. Isn't that pretty? So that is all there is to this. Since I was impatient and I did not pay attention to the one I pre-did, or the one I did second to get ready for the show, I really can't tell you how long it would take to dry. But I don't think very long. Modeling paste dries pretty quickly. All right, now let's go back to the one that's ready to go. Something else to think of if you're doing multicolors is, and it's such a simple thing, but I blew it. And the reason my white glitter is a little low was I did it on the same paper plate I had done another color on and got gold in it. And I wanted to make sure it was white. So just a little weird tip. Okay, so this one, I said, like I told y'all, we used white. They're all the same process on the inside. And we used white tulle for this one. And we did the same thing, about 5. And you can see I'm putting it right in the middle and just building around it. This glue is so much better. And the other thing is, too, I didn't point out, make sure you do the edge on this one, too. You can always go back if you miss that and use a little glitter from the front or add a little modeling paste or anything like that. It's not irreparable, but it makes it a lot easier to do it at the beginning instead of go back. Whoops, stuck to my finger. All right, and again, I'm going to trim it up and make it more of a base. I didn't do my nails tonight before the show. They're kind of done, but I didn't redo them because I knew that this was messy. And here it is. So it didn't make much sense. How long for each bow section? For the question is how long for each bow section. It's a small bow. Gosh, I'm going to guess maybe if you cut 8-inch strips, but I'd kind of experiment. Let me show you one close up. And I do have fairly large hands. I don't have a ruler here, but they're not real big. And remember, you just tie the little bow and then you fluff them out. And this one, I'm just using skinny ribbon for the hanger. And these are all very similar. I just changed up little details in each one. Things are sticking to my hand, which is making it a bit harder tonight. Okay, same thing. And actually, I should have done this ahead of time, but we're going a little backwards for this one. We'll put that bow over the top now. There we go. Give me just a sec. Okay, now this one I used a silver glitter ribbon. And as much as I've said about this being a messy project, this stuff is beautiful, but it is probably the most, it gets rid of, or I don't know, it gets glitter everywhere more than any other. And this one I did, I did a just 2-loop bow because this is wider. The last ribbon, you can see the difference here. The last ribbon was much narrower. So this one, I went with a wider ribbon, so I didn't want it to have 4, because then all of a sudden it's basically all bow and no more ornament. So this one I just did 2. And again, You're going to gather it up kind of let's do this for y'all. We are going to pinch it into a little accordion style and do it on both sides. And then this ribbon is also one-sided, so you can see that I'm going around. And again, we're going to tie it in the inside. I knew it wouldn't be the same if I didn't say that word, so I had to add it in for y'all. Okay. And see, you can probably see this with this ribbon. It is everywhere. So they make some really pretty satin ribbons too. I think for this particular one, that would be a really good choice. And you can see I'm cutting it here. And then adding it, gluing it down too. Let me hold that just a second and let it set. And then for this one, instead of doing the crystal, I use Jingle Bells. And I love these packages, and I actually have several of them, and because you can get several colors all together. And this one is kind of neat. And in fact, the brown ornament, some of these even go pretty with it because they're kind of that color. But for this one, I just used a Jingle Bell and added it on with just the skinny ribbon that I used for the hanger, which I cannot find. Okay, well, wherever it went, this one hangs on the bottom with the skinny ribbon. Well, that's strange. All right, we're going to move along without that hanging. But anyway, let me show you on here. It can't have gone far. I haven't left. So you can see I tied just a tiny little bow here. And that's it. That's strange. I can't quit looking. Oh, there it is. We have it. I really promise I was prepared. And I tied it, okay, I had to remember. I tied it in a knot and I glued it down, and I just tied it in a little knot, cut off one piece. And then I did a tiny little bow, and this is, again, it's a simple little shoestring bow. See? And we're going to add a little glue. Add a little glue here. And that should cover us. And then this we're going to trim after we get it set. The bottoms do not want to stick tonight. The weight of these makes them something you really are going to have to hold for a minute. And they just are not working for me tonight. It doesn't help that I have more glue on my hands than on the project. And the baby wipes aren't really cutting it. Okay, I think it actually finally stuck. And this also, we'll trim it up a little bit when it's set a little bit better. Okay, now this one, it's really the same things that we used on the other. It's the same petaloo flowers. Um, these may even be, the white ones may be even prettier than the red ones, if you can believe it, which is saying a lot. And this one I chose to go with the greens and the silvers. And I was going to just go white and silver, but when I started playing with this green, it looked terrific. So I ended up deciding that was the look. So this is more of the, just a few pieces of the pick. And you'll see too, these are not huge. They're small little pieces. Let's see. I like the end pieces. And then I also chose a few of the little green. So we'll get those on. Okay. Get those out of my way. All right. So we're building this one the exact same way that we built the last one, with better fabric package. And I'm going to, what I ended up doing is I wanted the green to pop because there's only a few pieces of it. So I started to build with the silver on the bottom. And so if you prefer, just like if your tree or whatever is just white and silver, you can see this would be beautiful just white and silver, not to add the color. But I really love the color. And also because it's white and silver, I've seen some beautiful blue trees this year, which is my favorite color, but I actually don't have any blue trees. But the aqua blues, and I've seen that the peacock stuff is really in style. And I think this would be really pretty, or even solid gold, and add the colors. But for this one, I decided I liked the green. And we're doing it the same way. We're just building around the back from behind where we're going to put our flowers. And I'll lift this up here in a second. In fact, I might need to move this now that it's got the glue over. I might need to move it to where we get rid of some of the glare. The white on the inside of this one, yeah, it's still not helping much, but maybe a little better where you can see a little bit better. And that way you can see the green. So you can see here, I'm just building it from the back. And then this one, I had these snowflakes, and these are also, oh wait, one more thing first. These are, with the centers of the flowers being what I told you, and you actually can probably see these better. These were in the little wedding section. Let's see if I can hold them steady. And you can see they're little crystals. Well, this is basically what the inside of those flowers were. So when I saw these, I had to use a few of them. And there's quite a few on here, so I'm just going to pull off some. And if you watch the wedding section, this stuff goes on sale. And then what I did here is I twisted it instead of gluing them, because these are really narrow wire. So when you're using these or anything like them, because there's so many neat things out there that have this wire, I twisted them and cut it with my little Tim Holtz scissors. And then I only had to glue it once. Then I bent the side up, and you only have to glue it once. And I'm going to glue it over here on this side. And again, remember, we're just getting this glued down. Because this is also wire, it really doesn't matter where it sits, other than that it's attached well. Because the wire will be able to manipulate. And again, I did not glue towards the ends because I don't want the ends stuck down. I just want the whole piece stuck down. And then these little snowflakes, these are also, I love the miniature ornaments because they work so well for many projects. And even in my Kit of the Month project, I used some of these. They're just like the perfect size to add. And these are nothing more than little white glittery snowflake miniature ornaments. And you can play with these and change them up. Like I said, I'm going with real similar. I'm going to tuck this one under. I'm going with real similar to what I did. Also, one thing, they do have a little hole, and you want to put the hole where it'll hide underneath. But I'm going with real similar to what I did instead of having to think about different new placement. Picked up my paint. It's not going to work. And then, let's see what I got here. Okay, y'all, I'm going to be behind on 2, but we'll get this done quickly. Show you what the little angel looks like. Okay, so you can see here how we're building. We're basically just building a base for all the other stuff. And then here's the white flowers. Again, these are Petaloo, and I know Alda had them in the store because that's where I got them. With the pretty centers. And see how you might need to manipulate a little. My leaves weren't quite placed where they went under my flower pretty, and now they do. And now I'm going to tug on these little wire things and make sure that we can get them placed pretty. Because I want these little snowflakes to peek out, and I want these little crystals to peek out. There. All right, and then this one, same thing. And on this one, we're going to tuck an angel in. And there's so many of these. These are Prima. Let me show you a few of these. These are the little Prima resins. I don't get them out. But there's so many different packages. And there's also the boxes that Prima does, that they have some angels. And there's lots of little ideas and things you can poke in behind these just to give you that little bit of extra. And this one I used silver paint, and I did the exact same thing on the angel that I did on the pine cone, just a tiny bit of paint on my finger, and I rubbed it. And hopefully y'all can see. And I don't worry about getting it on her face. Obviously you're using your finger, so it just goes where it goes. But it picks up the high spots and just gives it such a pretty little extra touch. Okay, so here we go. That's it. And we're going to tuck her in. And in my case, one of my favorite people collects angels, so I wanted to be sure and include some angels for her on my ornaments. And these couple of these are already have a home. They're going in the mail tomorrow. So here you go. You can see how this is working out. Okay, sorry. I know when you watch this back, but evidently I'm being sent a finger sponge for my stocking stuffer. All right, so that's what we've got there. And then this one too I added. And again, these are these really nifty little words and little glitter words. And part of the reason I went with the green is I could also find this, and when I saw these, I was like, that is it. That's perfect. I'm sorry, I know I'm going to go over. We're not going to do the third one, but I will get some photos and get it up on, I'll get some close-ups. I've already got some photos and get it up on my blog. This one, the only one in the package that's this color, it says Noel, so I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to make all this tuck up under. And you can see I set the angels where I could make sure that I could see them. And because if you tuck them too much, they kind of disappear under there. And get it straightened up a little bit. And you can see that that is it. Whoops, except it's not, the glue's not dry yet, so it's not quite it, but as soon as the glue dries, so you can see, there you go. And then here you go, it's the back. And you can see how this all shows on the back, all the pretty extras. All right, now let me show y'all one. Since we're not going to get to this though, I'll show it to you real quick. What did I do with it? Here it is. Okay, this one I want to just tell you a little bit about what I used on it so y'all know when you're looking in the store what I have. I can't reach it. Hang on. This one, instead of doing the traditional, I used, you know, it's not red and green and gold. I used these blue, and these are also a petaloo flower that are really beautiful. And you can see that I layered them underneath. Again, it's Christmas pick pieces. It's, you know, just some beads. I also used the blue beads. And what I did use, and I think you can see on here, for this one I used the Art Glass Glitter, and or Art Ingredients Glass Glitter. This one is sterling. And this one I kind of think of as almost a champagne-y color. It's almost got like some brown undertones in it. So it goes really well with the blue, and it would go great with, you know, some of the deeper colors. I can see it with burgundy. It would be really pretty. So that's what I did here. And this, you know, this is a Christmas pick. I did use some paper. These are paper little snowflakes. I tucked that in. And the bottom of this one is more ribbon, and I just used another little crystal from the Ornaments. And I'll make sure, like I said, that I do some close-ups so you can really see this since you didn't, on my blog, since you didn't see it go together. But this one, I mean, I love them all, but this one too. And also, this one, you can find the paint that goes with it. And you'll notice I used a larger angel for this one. And then again, that's a Prima angel. So same technique, same everything, just different embellishment choices. All right, I'm going to scan it. Give me one sec. Okay, well, I know I was a little all over the place tonight. It was one of those nights, and my camera's still crooked, but it's so loose I'm really terrified of knocking it off. So, but I wanted to thank y'all so much for being here, and if you have any questions, you know, feel free to email me. I noticed on the chat that someone shared my blog, and there is a link to email me there. And so if you come up with a question that I missed or that you want to explore a little further, just let me know. And want to thank y'all all for being here, and wish y'all all the best of holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy Hanukkah.